Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Book to Block, a series where I read my fantasy novel to life in Minecraft, one block at a time. Today's episode, we're coming over here to kind of the center of the village, and we're going to be building the general store. Alright, so the first thing we need to worry about is kind of the shape I want to go for. So I've got this kind of land picked out here. I'm thinking I'm going to use all this to approximately at least here, if not just for like an outside bit, like a balcony or such, and leave this space a little bit more open for some other things, maybe just vegetation and general things. We don't have to have a building in every single plot, but I think using this kind of raised bit as our area would be a good start for it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out the shape of the build. So what I want is I kind of want the entrance to be here, kind of mirroring the blacksmith. So this is kind of, we're getting more into the larger businesses opposed to the tiny little market. So you enter the village, you come pass through the market, see the wares of the village, and then if you want to get more advanced things, you come to either the blacksmith, the general store, and then like the smokehouse and such. So for this one, I'm thinking I'm going to go for a plus sign like this. Then I want to add in a little bit more character, so I'm going to flatten this edge like this. So then when these ones all kind of grow out like this, I can bring it up to the edge, and then out, expand this one out too, and then match on this side. So you can see it's kind of shaping up. I think I'll make this one long, and then we can kind of have you enter into the store here. You got plenty of stuff over here. You got a space for maybe a counter on either side here. And then you can kind of walk down the aisle, and either side you can kind of have like barrels full of different things that wouldn't be sold at the market or any of the specific buildings. It's just, like I said, a general store. So it can have anything that's been imported from the main city or any like regional specialties from any of the other villages in this area. So let's get to doing a little bit more of a cleaner outline. And here we are. So I did a little bit of changing in these areas so that wasn't just like a direct corner, because then this entire area can't really be used. Like if you have a triangle like this, this entire area is kind of useless unless you're going to maybe put like a block here, but then it's just very tight. So by expanding it a couple blocks, I'm able to reclaim a lot of area here. So next thing is for the block palette. So obviously I'm going to be keeping with the theme of either using the spruce or the dark oak. Then I've got to decide if I want to kind of match this one or if I want to match up with these builds. Because if I come up above all of this, we kind of have one type of build over here. These two are a little bit darker. This one kind of is like in between. It's a lot darker than these, but also uses a lot of the lighter colors. And then over here in the farming district, that's also very similar, just not as much of the tough, just puts a lot of the lighter spruce. So for this one, I'm just going to start off with just basic things. I'm not going to worry too much about the color. I want to get the shape down first, because that's more important in my opinion. And then once I get the shape done, maybe some more ideas will kind of flow in with the creativity. So let's get to building the shape up more. Alright, so that's a little unique of a roof. As you saw, I used circles to kind of get this curved roof. Kind of wanted a little bit different from doing always these spiked roofs I've been doing everywhere. Here I kind of just freestyled just enough so that I could do stairs so that they connect nicely. That's why I added the extra little bits and not just doing edges like this. For these ones I can add in like this, and it's not a big issue. Bit of a problem I had over here, it just kind of gets a little bit more messy on this side just because of how I shaped it. So I'm thinking instead of having it like that, I'm going to squared off. So bring it out like that. So it's these. Just got to make sure I'm doing it on the right spot. So this one would go 3 up, so it combines to there. Bring it out to the same spot. And then we want it just one in, so I gotta go back and bring it up here. Let's grab this. All right, and then let's grab all this. That out. Wait for this last little bit. And there we go. So it's got the same on the other side, so it makes it a lot easier that way. So when we come in on here, it's a little dark, so I'll turn off the shaders. So we have the full bright on right now. So got this floor here is the main floor, and then kind of a second floor up here I'm marked off. So it's 4 blocks tall for this, just enough space that it feels open but doesn't feel kind of like a huge open space. We're not looking for like a Costco type of thing. We're just a general medieval store. So for the roof up here, it's a decent amount of space. How many blocks is this? So it's also 4 at the highest peak. So we can use this for different types of storage. Perhaps maybe the shopkeep lives up here. That'll make the population a little higher. So we have housing over there. We've got the blacksmith that lives here. We got the 3 rooms that are in here. I might make a little small addition to the barn, or like another little house for the farmers to live in maybe. But this just adds more of the population that we feel like we're kind of missing for a village on this scale, because this can only hold so many people, and I don't want to have just 100 tiny little houses like a regular Minecraft village would. So let's get into kind of designing it. So for the walls, we're probably going to go for either a stone brick, tough brick, or a cobble, and then we're going to go for the wood roof. And then coming in here, we can kind of visualize it better for the stocking area. So when you come in, there'll be kind of a checkout desk here, so you can kind of pay or haggle. The person will be here kind of watching over. You probably have a nice little bench here so that the person can walk around. We have multiple people working. The shopper comes up on this side, they bring their stuff, pay, and then they can leave, while the shopkeep can kind of roam along this side, point out certain things, maybe have some of the product, like the more expensive product, on this side, so it's under the watchful eye of the shopkeep. Then we got 2 or 3 more areas. This will be where most of the product will be held. So we'll have a line of shelving kind of all on the side, and then maybe another one down the center. So you have these kind of aisles. You can walk down, grab things. I'll use a lot of the composters for the entities, and then like barrels and chests and such. I'll be going in with, if you come down here, so grab this one. So I'm going to have ceiling here. You have your kind of stuff here. So let's say this is our product. We're going to go like this, and then I'll put an entity just like right in front of it. So let's go for, didn't want to do that. Let's go for something else, something that we can sell. So let's say we are selling, don't want to do any of the tools, maybe just a fishing rod. So rotate that nicely, bring it all the way up here. I'm gonna slide it on, and then I'll scale it down so that it appears only on the sign here, just so we have some sort of kind of visuals. If I turn off the gizmos, I can see it a little bit better. So then you can kind of show what each thing is going to be selling if I'm just using barrels or chests. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fix all this up, get it out of the concrete and terracotta, and start texturing it. So let's go to that now. And there we go. So I did a kind of mix of the tough and regular stone bricks for the main walls, the base of the whole shop. And then went in with the spruce and then using the dark oak kind of as the accent on the edge, kind of border around. Got a little tricky with this kind of unique shape, but I do enjoy a little bit of a challenge when doing the roofs. As you can see, I've done quite a few and slowly been getting better at doing them as I went on. It starts off kind of like this. This one kind of follows that, but I'm going for more of a unique with the curved opposed to all the sharp peaks I've been going. So if we come on inside now, got lots of space. So we can kind of come through here. I'm going to continue using the concrete just because it makes it a little bit easier to build with. I can plan things out a little bit better this way. If I grab like this, I can fill in all those gaps. Same with over here. And we got our second floor. So now I can visualize there's a lot more space up here than I originally thought, so that'll make it more comfortable for the shopkeeper to live in. So I'm going to come back down here, fill in all these gaps I made. So for the staircase up, I think I'm going to put it back here behind the counter. So we're going to bring this counter out a little bit further so that there's space for a staircase. I'm going to go for oak for the floor, so I'll use this for the staircase. I'm going to remove a kind of hole in here, making sure there's enough space along the side. And we'll start with here. I got enough space over here, and there's going to be enough space up here because I'll probably cover up this because I don't want to be seeing the stone. So we got plenty of space up here. Staircase is nice and secure. Do the general understair there. And now what we can do, I'll grab all this, place it, that into oak planks. So now we have our floor. So we can continue this out, and then I think this will be kind of like if we use a trap door, go like this, maybe something like that. So it's a little bit of a walkthrough here. So we got our employees only area, maybe bring down the roof a little bit like this so that it's kind of bordered. But now let's get on to filling this up. All right, so first up is our kind of main counter here. So I've gone and used some spruce to kind of make a little counter here, using the stairs just for a little bit of a difference so it's not just the full blocks. Next will be for these hanging signs, so similar to what I want to do for each of the individual barrels and stuff. I want to have it up here, maybe different prices and other information the shopkeep might want to hand out. Problem is, you can't put them on these stairs here. If I was to use the force plates, I can put them here, but when I place over here, the orientation doesn't change. So to get around all this, I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to replace with a full block, then it does it normally. So then if I replace it, it doesn't affect it at all. So that means I can go over here. Let's do these two. Add in some signs. Go back to replace. And toss those up. Alternatively, if you don't have these like force place and replace things, you can just add instead, just going like this, and then going like this. Is it also adds in a bit of depth that way. I just wanted to keep it nice and smooth all the way around, so we'll just keep it like that. So I got some signs, I can put either some entities on them or maybe just write on them normally, do different prices, hours, ask for this person for a specific item, and maybe I'll have, actually that gives me a good idea. Over here, in this kind of open space, we'll have maybe some counters on this side for selling stuff, and then here I'm going to have a kind of a notice board. So for if there's anything like shipments that are going to be received, we can write up on here, so using the regular signs opposed to the hanging ones. So just grabbed a hanging one by accident. I'll grab this, so we can put on some signs, a nice little notice board saying, well, in 2 weeks we're receiving a large shipment from the main capital, so come back then for a good deal or something. Just kind of adds a bit of character to the place, makes it feel more lived in and used by everyone. Next up, we're going to start working on the outside counters. All right, so here we are. So I'm using dark oak for the kind of ceiling here. I removed the rest of it, doing a top of the half slab here, full block along the edge, and then using these stairs as kind of the reaching out bits to hold onto each of the signs. So I've got the 3 different variants. So just barrels with stuff. So you got these flower pots in the barrels, got some potatoes in just a chest, and then we've got the kind of barrels, so lots of entities over here with the fishing rods. So you can fill these up with basically anything. I could do that for all of them, but I want a little bit of variation. So I can add those along the side and then maybe just one along the center. I'll have to figure out how I'm going to do the signs or if it'll just be kind of slightly different in the center bit. So then I'm going to have to continue the roof over and let's see what that looks like. Alright, so here we are, all finished on the roof. So I've gone along and then added the little side bit onto here. So I've got enough space along here and then here for a couple more. Maybe the bulk things will be here, good discounts and such. And then we've got this kind of area back here. So I'm thinking I'm going to see how much I can fill up in here, and if that's enough products, then this could be sort of a storage room, and then I can bust down one of these walls, and I can use that as like kind of a entry dock, so they get their deliveries done into this area. So I'm going to do a little bit of work on the outside, and then we can come back on inside and see how much we can fit in here. Alright, so now to kind of fix up on the outside. So you see this side here is very flat, not very attractive looking. So if I come over to this side, I've changed it up a little bit. So I've pushed in this part in by 1. I've added a nice log here to kind of separate this from the bottom bit. And then I've gone in with stairs on the bottom. These are the walls, so that's 3 walls, and then 2 stairs, the bottom stairs and then the top stairs. Just adds a bit of depth that was missing, especially like with these logs. It was really just felt like, you can see it's just very smooth, not a lot of texture to it. So I can go around. I've done it to these 2 already. I'm going to go around and do it to all the walls so that there is some depth without having to go in the entire full block. I'll have to be worried about when there's blocks here like this, because that will affect this. However, if it's only just a few, I can just manually remove these, and that just smooths it out all the way. Same for over here for the composters, but I'll see what I can do to make the whole thing without having any different like updates and such. So I'm going to fix this and then go on to the next bit. Alright, so here we are, a little bit more detail in here. I've added in a couple windows to get some natural light in. You can see I've done it all along the hall here and then over here. I've added in a couple light fixtures, so one on that side, and then I use some stairs around a block, or I lowered the slab down so it's not a half upper slab, it's on the bottom half so the lantern can attach. So that adds a little bit of light here. Also one here just for a little bit more light whilst I'm using the shaders. I've got my open door, so it's kind of a sliding door, sort of like my barn doors that I used over for this guy here. So I've got a little path here. I'll connect it up to the main road, so kind of like in behind whatever I decide to build here, so that they can do their deliveries to over here. So I'll kind of mark off this area so you can't get it, only employees can get through here. And then I've kind of spaced it out, so 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side, 4 on this side. I've got 3 kind of spots for each one, so I can have that for each of them. That works. I left this end open just so you can kind of see outside better, have more of a window. I could put it either side, but I don't think I need as much. Once I fill in both sides, I'll see if I need anything in the center, or if I'll just put some stuff to make some like fake clutter. And then over here I got a couple more spots that we can add. So we'll grab one here and here. A little tight over here, so I think I'll just do the 2, and I don't want to put too much in the back behind our little upcoming what's being delivered sign. Alright, so here on our little walkthrough of the final product. So we got our front desk here, where our shop heap can be, where they sell things, or the money gets transferred and such. We got our delivery board, so when upcoming deliveries are coming, so the villagers can be prepared for anything. Did a little carpet down the center just to fill in the empty space. And then we've got our products. So we got some fruits and vegetables that aren't being sold in the market square. Maybe they're a bit more expensive out here. And then we come on down. So I've got a sugar kind of area with a little spoon in it. This is just like white concrete powder shrunk down as an entity inside. We got our kelp from the river, some eggs, and then a berry bush using some of this crimson. I can't really, maybe if we go like this. Nope. So this is the crimson nylium, I think, just for a little bit of the red and then some of the sweet berries on top. We got the fishing rod, potatoes, and flower pots that I showed earlier. And then I just added in leather over here. We've got our little kind of loading dock area. So just a bunch of barrels, chests, and then the composters for empty barrels. And then we got our big open door with our little cart here that's making a delivery. So I filled that up with the different things. Now if we head on back in here, behind the counter, and we go up the stairs here, we got kind of the living area. So it had a lot more space than I had planned. So it's kind of very empty in spaces. We got just a single bedroom over here. Currently this is just empty. So I might put something in here later on if I need to, but for now it's just an empty room. Don't need to fill everything at the moment. Went around and added more windows in. And that is the general store. That's another big chunk of the land used up. Kind of a unique shape in the roof and the whole design. I can go around and add in my bone meal now just to surround it, kind of make it smooth in. Add maybe a window here, just so we have it equal on either side. I'll use my trick of using this plank or the stairs here. And that helps a little bit better there. So I can add a couple more things just to kind of hide little bits because this looks like really flat. So maybe a tree here just to block some of it. But that is this build. So if you've enjoyed today's video, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos coming soon. Until next time.